On this episode, we talk scholarships, recruitment, and how you can really go pro. Welcome to another episode of Inside the League. Today we have Selwyn Roberts, who's going to talk to us about all things agents and NFL. Thanks for coming on, Selwyn.
Definitely a pleasure, Joy.
So tell the audience a little bit about you and how you landed where you are today.
All right, so I'm gonna go real fast. Originally from South America, came to America when I was about 6 or 7 years old. Grew up in New Jersey, New York area. Um, my experience and how I got into the industry is a little unique. I was actually in the military for 20 years. I retired out of the military, 5 deployments. Um, and then during my last couple of years, I started my transition over to the sports industry. I've been working in sports for about 20 years on the marketing side while I was in the military, helping to promote high school kids to go to college. And so I did a lot of work with them. And then, over the years, high school kids eventually went to college, and then, a portion of them eventually went to the pros. And so those clients of mine, reached back out and wanted me to do more stuff in the community for them. And so my company continued to grow in that way off the field on the marketing side. So an opportunity arose when I was doing a event with this guy, Aaron Jones from the Green Bay Packers. And so he was a client of Lee Steinberg Sports and Entertainment. And they kind of liked how we was, doing the events for him. And so they hired me on to do events for their other clientele. And that's kind of like how I segued into the sports industry. And from there, I did a lot of stuff in the community and things like that with athletes. And then eventually, I said, I might as well just go ahead and be an NFL agent and manage careers in addition to managing brands and things like that. So kind of took that jump and leap and just continued to grow in the industry. Currently, I am still an NFL agent and also a vice president of brand at Steinberg Sports. So I manage all of the brands of our clientele as well. So a lot of work, a lot of busyness, but I love it.
Very cool. So you have a lot of touch points that I want to jump on and pick your brain about. So I think we'll kind of go in the order of your career.
Sure.
So the first thing I want to talk about is early on when you were working with high school students to get them into college.
Mhm.
Scholarships, I'm sure, was a huge part of that
Oh,
puzzle piece. How did you even find where to get scholarships, and how can young athletes figure out how to start combing for scholarships so that they can even have money to go to college?
sure. So at that time, I focused primarily on student athletes, right, from college. I mean, from high school. And there is a method that I use. Number one, helping mom and dad figure out what their academic schedules are going to look like from freshman year all the way to senior year, which is important because that's going to determine you getting accepted to the college that you're trying to go to. A lot of kids don't understand that there's an admin side to college and then there's a sports side to college if you're a student athlete. And so you can be an exceptional talent, but if you have bad grades, you won't pass admissions and you won't, be accepted into that college. So we start there to ensure that they have all of the correct curriculums as far as their studies for that year that's compatible with that state or college that they're trying to go to. Because what a lot of people don't understand is that every state has their own academic, goals and benchmarks that they want their students to hit. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's universal across all 50 states. And
Mhm.
so the first thing we look at and we talk to the kids and the parents about is what colleges you want to go to, right? Okay, well, let's look at all these colleges. Well, this college say you got to have 4 Englishes, 4 maths, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So if you're trying to go to this school, let's pattern and get your academic schedule straight from freshman year all the way to senior year to ensure that you're even qualified on that level. So we start with the academics, getting them lined up. And then from there, of course, there's a sports side to it, which we helped doing camps for them, combines, invited scouts out to kind of look and showcase their talents, teach them different things on how to better position themselves at the current position that they're playing. And I'm just going to talk like for football,
Yeah.
it's all about measurements. And 99% of the game is if you don't have the correct height and weight for that position, then nine times out of 10, you won't excel, but you
No.
won't get a scholarship for it. And
Mhm.
so I have a book here that I printed out that I published to kind of show every position, what height and weight you need to be, what skill sets you need to hit in order to get to certain division levels, right? One,
Cool.
two,
What's the
three.
name of the book? What's the name of the book?
It is. I'll show you at the end. I'll show you at the
Okay.
end. I'll show
Okay.
you.
Okay. I'm excited. I'm excited. Go.
But it is out there, and it literally shows kids, hey, if you want to go to D1, you want to go to FBS school at this position, here's all the stuff you need to do. Here's
Got
your
it.
height, your weight, your speed, and everything that you need to accomplish to reach that goal. And so I do have that out there. But I've done it for about 12 years. I think I started 2008, probably, yeah, about 12, 13 years. And so we got to a point where we were doing like $1.5 million in scholarships for kids
Wow.
every year because it was hitting the marks. It was hitting the marks, and it was very gratifying. And I took a break about 2 years ago, but now that we have this NIL world, now it's opened back up all over again, and I
Yeah.
find myself right back at high school trying to help kids. Not,
It's the place where you got popular.
I'm telling you. So
So can people do it themselves? If they don't have you, if they don't have a Selwyn in their world, can they find scholarships themselves? Are they just Googling and YouTubing? Like, how do they even find a scholarship?
first of all, they can find me. They can find me. They can look me up. I'm there. Get my social and hit me up. I will definitely help. But it's more about, as far as sports, it's more about positioning yourself to get scholarships as opposed
Okay.
to going out there and finding. Because college is going to pay for talent, right? I mean, that's just point blank.
Right.
And I do have a segment that kind of shows you how scouts work, the scouting tree works, to kind of help maneuver kids even more. But
Yeah.
it's more about the kid positioning himself, right? And now there's another component is how does a kid market himself, right? Because of
Right. What's
NIL.
their brand look like?
Right. And so
Mhm,
that's another thing we got to add to the toolbox,
mhm.
to really, help kids, be successful, get the scholarships they want, and monetize their brand even in high school. So,
So
uh,
not necessarily filling out the 100 applications, but really figuring out what your brand is and then looking at the schools that you want to go to and seeing what scholarships they offer and making that match up, saying, okay, this is the type of academics I need. I have a brand that's functioning that I show well on. And then let's pitch to the school to say, hey, I'm a great athlete to be on your roster and also pay for it. Is that kind of your thought process in getting scholarships in?
so I would say no. It's even easier than that. It's
Okay,
even easier than
okay.
that.
Give me the easy. I'm for the
So,
easy.
so for instance, let's say you have a kid that's I'm gonna pick, let's say quarterback, right? He's
Okay,
quarterback in high
okay.
school.
We like QBs.
And he's saying, "Hey, I want to go to a school in my neighborhood. I'm here in South Carolina. I want to go to University of South Carolina, right? You want to go to
Okay,
the Gamecock,
Chapel Hill.
right?
Understood.
All
Okay.
right, cool. All right, you're in high school. Okay, you got the right height. You're about 6'2", 6'3". Good weight. You're hitting all the marks on the field and things like that. Your academics is going well. You can go on to University of South Carolina and or any college and look at what are their requirements for their school. And they'll tell you straight off the bat. Okay, got it. I could check the box on that. No problem. The next thing is, all right, how well am I playing on the field? Right? The quarterback, is decent and he's hitting his marks. Number one, they're going to find you. They're going to find you hands down. The next thing is when players start getting those offers and invites to camps and things like that. Now it becomes, hey, how do I select the right college? That's number one. And how do I monetize my brand? Number two, whether
Mhm.
it's social, whether it's developing your own LLC to save some taxes because this is
Yes.
all then it's not earned income. This is all off the field type income. And so setting up a good, a basic LLC to kind of, monitor and monetize your brand is key.
Mhm.
And then being able to, learn how to decipher what's a good college and what's not, right? Because a lot of people don't know the advantages and disadvantages of certain colleges. Each
Yes.
and every one has their strengths and depending on the sport as well.
Yeah.
And so it's more of me sitting down with, mom, dad, and the kid and and depending on what the sport is, and saying, hey, I want to go to the NFL, right? If
Mhm.
NFL is your goal, then let me get you a roadmap and how to get
Yes.
there. I'll tell you
So
what high school to go to. Sure.
if I'm not D1, right? Like if I'm self-aware and I'm not D1, I might be D3. I might. Then I'm gonna have the height, I'm gonna have the weight, but my skill, I'm not D1. Can I, as a student athlete,
Mhm.
still get a scholarship to go to a school?
Good question. The answer is yes.
All right.
So that's the great thing about academics. So what colleges have the ability to do is if they don't have enough money to pay you a full scholarship, what they can do is they can leverage your academic grades and get you half of the money for your academics from the school and then half from the sports fund. And they can
Got
put
it.
those together to get you a scholarship.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
So, journeying on from high school with your career, and then we
Mhm.
got into college, and then the NFL. What exactly does an agent do? What are they there for?
Sure. So agents do a lot of things.
Okay.
Um, the primary function, of course, is contract negotiation and athlete management, right? So we're negotiating the contract between you and the team on
Okay.
behalf of the NFL Players Association. The next thing is if a player gets hurt, of course, we have to file any type of workers' comp and things like that. If the player gets fined, we got to, file and, grieve on their behalf to try to get it either reduced or thrown out.
Okay.
There's a family component to that as well, taking care of, the families in the background, training. Like, I'm going to give you an example. This is a roadmap.
Yes.
I'll give you a roadmap. So let's say you declare for the NFL draft and it's December, right?
Okay.
And we sign you. The next thing is you go to training, 8-week training to get you prepped for the NFL combine, which
Hmm.
usually takes from January to the end of February, right? So you train usually in South Florida, one of the big places, Florida, Texas, California, depending on your preference, right? So the athlete is training there. We go out there, visit them, have mom and dad go out there and visit them as well, but they're stuck on their island, just getting it in, getting prepped for the NFL Combine.
Right.
So we make sure training is done, correctly. During that recruiting process, we're talking to teams, we're talking to scouts, setting up interviews. They're getting on Zoom and they're talking to coaches, they're talking to defensive coordinators, they're talking to position coaches and things like that. So the teams can get to know them throughout that process. So there's a lot of coordination that goes through that.
Hmm.
So after we're doing that, we're scheduling media, right? So there's a media component to that. They're on Good Morning Football, they're on NFL Network, doing certain things to kind of raise their draft stock and things like that. So there's a media component and a marketing component as well.
Hmm.
While they're in training, we're securing off the field deals for them. Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, apparel brands, food brands, automobile, any category you could think of, or more importantly, what the player is interested in. So we go out there and we secure off the field deals, endorsement deals as well. All right, so there's a lot of components to it. We also help them to vet financial advisors. So we don't do financial advising. We have a third party do that, but we sit in and ensure that the financial institution is a reputable one, so they can have a financial advisor to manage their money.
Okay.
Um, and so anything in between all of that, we're always going.
Got
Vacation, concierge services, off season, they're ready to go on vacation. We help them plan
right.
their trips, spend time with family and loved ones, you name it. So it's a 24-hour job, 7 days a week. And you just gotta love people to be in this business.
Yeah. So it
Definitely.
sounds like brand plays a part all the way from high school through college and to the pros. If that athlete has done a decent job in building brands steadily, then it makes every step of the way easier. Backtracking to
Absolutely.
college just a little bit, how does an athlete, let's call him a D2 athlete, stepped it up a little bit, did their push-ups in the off season, how does an athlete get a scout to come out and see them play if they're not on their radar already?
And we're talking high school, right?
We're talking let's talk high school. Last year, you're going into college.
Okay.
And then we can even touch college. Let's say you're at a D2 school, you want to go, you're trying to figure out how to get awareness. So let's touch high school, track to college, the next step. How do you get the scout's attention?
Gotcha. So here's my question in this scenario. because they're in high school. They're getting ready to go to D2 college that they already selected, right?
Yes.
My
In their mind.
question
They selected in their
in
mind.
their
The college
mind,
didn't
okay, so they're
selected
not
them.
there yet. So my question would be, what is your ultimate goal? Because
Mm.
that's going to determine the
Want
strategy,
to go pro.
right?
Want
So
to go pro.
if the child wants to go pro, selecting that D2 school in that market or wherever they're trying to go is critical. My advice would always be to try to get in the D2 area, a D2 school where they have a feeder system to a Division 1 program, right?
Mm.
Because you only want to be there 1 year. That's it,
Right.
right? You don't want to waste eligibility in the D2 program if your goal is to play in the pros. The other thing is we're gonna definitely have to assess that player and kind of see why he's a D2 talent. Is he not talented enough on the field? Is he playing the wrong position? Does he need extra training? Workouts. Like, why is he not performing at the level that he should? Right.
Mhm.
So we have to look at all of that. And if there's a situation where he's just undersized and very good, let's just say he's a 5'6" and he's a running back, right? Let's just say that's the case. Well, at that point, what would help him at a D2 school is, all right, you're playing running back, you catch well, you run well, you block well, pass block well, but do you play special teams? Are you in punt return or
Mm.
you kick return, which is an asset, right? And so while you're in D2, let's get you into these positions, which
Right.
translates well to college and the NFL, that'll kind of help you, offset, your limitation as far as your height, right? Because speed kills in the NFL. If you're fast, you're just fast.
Right.
But adding that to your repertoire will help boost your resume to get you from D2, translate over to a Division 1 program, and then, hopefully off to the NFL. So
So
it's
playing
different
to your
strategies.
strengths.
I'm sorry?
Playing to your strengths, even though you may want a certain thing, playing to whatever your strengths are to kind of get you in the atmosphere, and then you're on your way, hopefully.
You have to. And there are a lot of undersized kids, but there's ways that you can still be productive and get there,
Mhm.
but you'll have to have enough film and experience at that position for somebody
Yeah.
to consider you. So for that 5'6" guy I just talked about, he needs to be a kick returner, a punt returner, along with being a running back, a solid running back. And he has a
Can you
shot.
get a scout out to your school? Let's say scouts don't come to your school, your coach is not in the recruitment system. You could go D1, but like nobody comes to see Piedmont Rural such and such high school. How do you get a scout to come out to see you?
Sure, good question. So kids can contact any scout they want, any team they want at any time, unlimited. The restrictions come from scouts contacting you, right? They only have certain seasons that they can contact you. But you as a player, you can go on the website and grab their emails. You can go on their Twitter and just send them your profile all day, every day. There's no limit. Um,
Amazing tip.
and do unofficial visits. You can do that as well. But the key is scouts they know good talent.
Mhm.
And if you want to find a scout or get on their radar, you got to play well. I mean, it's
Yes.
just simple. You got to play well. You got to have some type of things that that's valuable on the field that they can use at their level. And if you're an average player and you know it, right, you got to be realistic.
Mhm.
Then let's make sure our academics are strong, so we can at least package something to get you a full scholarship to go to school.
Right.
And then maybe there, you get transferred into another position that you really love and excel in. You just never know. But yeah, but it starts there with reaching out. You can reach out all day, every day, especially with these social media. Oh my goodness, all day, every day.
Yes. So how does the athlete make your job easier in a sense? Because building brand is essential every step of the way.
Yep.
So what can the athlete do to make the job of the agent easier, to make themselves more attractive to colleges and eventually the pros? What should they be thinking about when they're thinking about building brand?
Okay, so let me say this. Let me tell you the athletes I like,
Okay.
right? And that'll kind of help athletes think about, okay, this is what I need to do,
Yeah. We don't want the busters. We want the
right?
people who are gonna go.
So, got to have a good work ethic, right? Have to be a good communicator. And I don't mean that you're exceptional behind the camera. We can work on that. But as far as if I call you, you pick up. If I text you, you pick up. If a coach texts you, you answer. If anybody contacts you, you have good communication skills where you give feedback. There are players who don't communicate well, and that translates all in every area you can think of. So, hard worker, good communicator, have great values, Has a good, family support system. If it's a single family, got it. Mom's there, uncle's there, brother's there, but a good support system. And just overall a person that loves football. If you don't love it, I can't deal with you. Can't do it.
Yes.
You gotta love it. You
Yes.
gotta love the game because it requires a lot.
Yes, definitely to have that much impact happen to your body. You probably want
Yeah.
to kind of you want to like it. You want to like it
Yeah.
a
Just a
bit.
little bit, right?
Yeah. But sounds like being responsive is key. Even if you're dealing with brands independently, if you ghost a brand, they reach out, they didn't hear from you by your deadline or whatever your creative is due, it's not going to be a relationship that's going to last. So it sounds like
Absolutely.
that is
Absolutely.
across the board. So
Absolutely.
so I could talk to you like all day and pick your brain all day, but I want people to reach out to you as well. So tell everyone where they can find you and what you're up to.
So you can find me at Selwyn underscore G underscore Roberts on any platform. You can reach me there. You can reach me at my first name, Selwyn at SteinbergSports.com. And what we're up to now is draft season. So we got a new draft class in, and we're doing training, recruiting, and then getting ready to go on vacation with the guys who just finished the off season, right? And recruiting new talents for 2024. So always busy, always a great time. But we do got some dope projects coming out that I can't share at the moment, but I'm excited about them.
Thank you so much, Selwyn, for coming on. And I really appreciate all the jewels you have dropped. I hope people take advantage of it. You definitely pulled back the curtain on this one and gave people the practical application of how they can win. So thank you so much for being on Inside the League.
Pleasure.